So I have actually two incidences. Once was probably I'd say grade 11, grade 12. I had friends talking about me using drugs at school, so my counselor sent me to detox. Unfortunately, I wasn't using enough then, so they kicked me out and told me, you don't need to be here, you can go home. So that continued on for now the last 8 years of me continually using and then gradually switching over to crack cocaine instead of just cocaine. And then I got kicked out of my house back in October because I went to my mom and asked her for help. And she told me, sucks to be you, go do it by yourself, get out of my house. So since then I ended up at the Y. And well, now I'm back at home, but I ended up at the Y for a while to try to get myself some help. So getting kicked out back in October was like my big wake-up call, and when that happened I got put into the YWCA. So they actually offer help through CASIN, which is the Canadian Addiction Services. So I've been going to them, and I've been going to the St. Catharines Hospital to do healthy habits courses. They actually came to the Y, so I'm starting to get back into them, but they're amazing at teaching you like your addiction isn't you, and it's a mental thing, it's just a whole mental game you can get out of it yourself. So they've been really, really awesome, and the ladies, I feel like, I haven't asked if any of them have addiction in their past, but like they feel like, to me, they seem like they actually have been there, they know what they're doing. So I've relapsed quite a bit actually. Being in a house that I used to use in is really, really, really difficult for me. But it's probably like the worst feeling in the world, knowing that you've done all this work and you put in so much work and time to just go back like 5 steps. But then at the same time, when you relapse, you don't want to tell people that you relapsed because you're scared of the judgment and everyone going, oh, well, you were doing so well, now you're just back to where you were. I have a lot, like a lot of triggers. Too many for me to get named. My main one though is I get bored. I'm home, I live with my grandmother, so I'm home alone all day, every day. I don't work because I'm working on my mental health. So when I'm home and I'm by myself and I'm bored, it just makes me think of, oh, well, what can I do to not be bored? Well, I can go get drugs. Being where I used to use drugs is also like really, really hard for me because I can't go into my basement without thinking, oh, this is where I used to do things. This is what I want to do while I'm here. So I try to stay away from that. And then just trying to be around supportive people right now is my main, like, is really, really helping me. There's a lot of people I know that don't get it still. So they're not as supportive, or they're just still judging me and thinking that I'm still doing the things that I was doing. So unfortunately, I replaced that addiction though with food. That's my main problem right now. So all I do is eat, and then that's because I'm bored or I'm lonely. And then the problem with that is it's a never-ending cycle, because now I look at myself and go, I put on all this weight, I used to be so skinny while I was using. And it's a continuous cycle of now going back to, well, I want to be skinny again. Find your own crowd. Don't just try to fit in. Don't do what everyone wants you to do. Don't feel like you need to do things to fit in. Be unique. It's what makes you who you are. Don't look for love in the wrong places. You're just going to keep getting yourself hurt, and don't listen to your family members, as sad as it sounds. They might try to put you down. They might try to tell you you're something you're not. Just be who you want to be. You're perfect the way you are. Don't let anybody affect who you think you are. Talk about your feelings and don't keep them bottled up inside. That's my major one. If you're going to keep it bottled up inside, it's honestly going to get 20 times worse at the end. An addiction to me is like an everyday battle with somebody else inside your body. So there's constantly someone telling you you're not good enough, or someone telling you need to do this. And it makes it extremely hard. The main problem is that person's always 5 steps ahead of you. So you wake up in the morning, that person's like, you need drugs, you want drugs, you're not good enough. You're going to go out with friends and you're going to a town that you used to get drugs. And it's going to be like, okay, well, this is where you can get it, and this is how you can get it. And it's really hard to try to shut that person up. On top of battling yourself, you're constantly dealing with family and friends who are judging you, and they might think it's out of love, but having people look at you all the time like you're scum is extremely difficult and making a lot of it harder on myself. So for me, it's still an everyday struggle because it's still pretty fresh. Trying to stay away from my triggers is really hard because I do live in that house, but being around people who are supportive of me and actually getting me out of the house is working a lot. I try to go down to the water. I find being with nature is really, really helpful, and trying to find something to substitute my addiction with. Keep checking up on me. Don't leave me alone. That's my major one. Try to keep me out of the house. Try not to keep me at home. Keep me busy. Support is huge. I need that support a lot right now. and constant reassurance that I am doing better. When people stop doing that or start saying, oh, well, I feel like you're doing this, it's going to put me back to that spot of, well, why don't I then? I think close friends and family all do need some form of counseling when they know someone who has an addiction, because what might have worked for one person isn't going to work for someone else. So I know personally, like having my mom and some people just completely shut me out made me a lot worse, because I just felt like, well, no one cares. Everyone just kind of gave up on me, so what's the point in continuing and trying? So I feel like almost everybody in the world needs some form of addiction counseling so they can support somebody else.